commonly people assume that Allah Azza wa Jal created Adam alayhi salam, and then when He created him, He commanded the angels to do the sajda, and they all obeyed, and Iblis disobeyed. This is kind of the simple version of the story that many people are familiar with. But there are details in the Quran that are very important that are missing when you think of the story in this way. Allah Azza wa Jal first announces to all of the angels, and we understand that it includes at that time Iblis among them in this announcement, Inni khaliqun basharan min teen. I am about to create a human being from dirt or from clay. So Allah has, when He's saying this, He has not made Adam yet. Adam alayhi salam has not been created yet, but the announcement has been made that Allah is about to do it. This is khaliqun basharan min teen. And then فَإِذَا, the word إِذَا in Arabic is used for describing something that is going to happen in the future. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. And when I'm done balancing him, and when I blow into him from my ruh, then fall into sajda before. Allah has described that He is about to create our Father, and He has also described the process He's going to use to create us. He says, first of all, I'm going to make him from teen. Now let's pause here for a second. We're not the only creation on this earth made from teen. In fact, all of the animals and all of the species that exist on this planet also are made from teen. So that's the common element between us and the rest of the life that exists on this planet. All of the animals and all of the insects, all of it, that's from teen. Fine. But there's something additional about this creation that He's about to make, our Father, and by extension us, that is more than just teen. We're just way more advanced at getting food and shelter than animals, but at the end of the day, those are the same basic functions. And then they procreate. They have children. They continue the species, and that's what human beings do too. So in that sense, as far as the continuity of life, we're not that much different from the animal kingdom and from what any other species does. We build homes, a bird builds a nest. We go out and seek our rizq, and the birds go out and they seek their rizq. But then Allah adds, He's informing the angels, why is this creation from dirt different from all the other species that exist? فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ. When I make him balanced, taswiyah is actually to perfect and balance the craft of something. So Allah says that there's a level of balance and perfection that is going to be added to this creature that doesn't exist in other creatures. But in one sense, other species physically have way more balance than we do. Monkeys can hang on one arm. They have pretty good balance. Birds have amazing reflexes, right? So this is talking more than just our ability to stand up on 2 feet. Allah is telling us that human beings will have an ability to balance opposing things. They're going to have the ability, for example, to balance their individual needs with the needs of their family. They're going to balance their personal responsibilities with social responsibilities. That's one of the great qualities of the human being that Allah describes that's going to make him amazing. The balance is actually between our impulses, our emotions, and our thought process. So let me explain what that means. When a hungry dog sees something, it goes and it bites it. It doesn't think about the consequences. There's the emotion and then there's the action. That's it. But human beings, they can look at something and say, no, that's illegal. No, that's haram. Unlike other species, when they have an emotion, they have an impulse, they jump on it. They react. But we can think about the consequences. We can think about the long term. We can hold ourselves back. That's actually one of the great names of our intellect in the Quran is al-hijr and an-nuha. These are words that are used to describe our intellect. And al-hijr means a boulder, a rock, because a rock is a barrier to moving forward. And an-nuha is prevention, because our mind prevents us from doing stupid things. Right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla here says, human beings will be made with this amazing ability of balance. Then He says, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. And then on top of that, I will blow into him from my own ruh, meaning the ruh that Allah especially designed for this human being, this special spiritual connection, this special thing that will connect him, this human being, and Allah together in a unique way. So He's made up of these 3 things. He's made up of dirt, and He's made up of this balance, and He's made up of this ruh. 3 components Allah described in this ayah, and He let the angels know these are the 3 parts that will make this human being amazing. And when these 3 things come together, then فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, then fall into sajda. So when you study sajda in the Quran, you learn something. Allah talks about sajda when something incredible happens. Allah talks about sajda when a miracle happens. When the sorcerers, the magicians, saw the staff of Musa turn into a snake, a giant snake, and eat whatever ma ya'fikun, whatever they had made up, they couldn't help themselves. They fell into sajda. There's even an incident in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ where when the ayah, the kuffar were listening. The kuffar, they don't even believe in the Quran. They were listening. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ صَاعِقَةً مِثْلَ صَاعِقَةِ عَادٍ وَثَمُودٍ. When the ayah came, I warn you of a thunderbolt like the one that came to Ad and Thamud. They fell into sajda. They couldn't even help themselves. They fell into sajda. And Allah is making a claim here to all of the angels. And the angels, it's important to note, the angels don't just see the seen. The angels are creatures of the unseen. So what is invisible to us, like the arsh of Allah, what is invisible to us like the jinn, what is invisible to us like the secrets of the skies, many of them, the angels, they travel through the skies. So we can be amazed by a mountain or an ocean or a waterfall, the seen world, that amazes us. And Allah is telling them that this creature is so incredible. Of all the vast universe that He created, of all the things that He put in this remarkable seen and unseen kaun, He says this one thing is so powerful that every last one of you should be overwhelmed at what Allah has done when He created Adam. That you should fall into sajda. You should just be like in awe of this incredible miracle of Allah that deserves that all of the angels of Allah, فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَ كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ, all of them, all together fell into sajda. How big of a miracle, how big of a deal is the creation of Adam alayhi salam? Adam has not been created yet. This is just the announcement. Why should you be so amazed? What deserves this sajda? What warrants it? Why should they fall on their faces? Well, it's because of these three things. إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِّن طِينٍ فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِن رُوحِي. So now, this announcement is made. And Iblis, we know, heard this announcement also. And if Iblis heard this announcement, he also knows that Adam is made up of three things. I keep saying three things so it sticks in your... But we know that when, Allah tells us that when he refused to do sajda, He says, you made me from fire, you made him from dirt. That's just one of those three things, isn't it? There's two more things. And He knows about those two other things. He knows about the taswiyah, the balance of the human being. He also knows about the ruh that is inside the human being. But when he complains to Allah that you made him from dirt, he pretends that he doesn't know about those other two things. But he does. He fully knows. And that is that when he denies these other two things, he knows that if he acknowledges those two things, then he has to acknowledge how incredible the human being actually is. But if he only acknowledges the dirt, if he only acknowledges the mud, then what's the difference between Adam and a horse? What's the difference between Adam and a cow and a monkey? They eat, he eats. They get shelter, they get shelter. They have kids, he has kids. He's just an evolved animal. That's all. Okay, so he can stand on his 2 feet. Big deal. What's the big deal? He's just an evolved species. There's nothing more to him. There's nothing more to him. So he deliberately denies two components of our existence out of the three. Two of them, he denies them, and if he accepts them, then he has to accept the supremacy of what Allah has made, the remarkable thing Allah has made. Now, he hates humanity. He blames Allah for giving us this position. And he swore that he wants to not only see Adam alayhi salam fail, because if you hate Adam, then you got Adam expelled from Jannah, you should be like, I'm good now. I got my revenge. Feel better. Nah, he doesn't feel better. He's like, now I'm going to get his kids. And now I'm going to get his family. And now I'm going to get their kids and their kids. And he keeps ruining human beings time and time and time and time again. And the rage of his fury doesn't go away. He doesn't feel any better after getting revenge or destroying. He doesn't feel any better. So the thing is, how does he destroy human beings? He does many things to destroy us. But one of the most important things he does is that Iblis did not want the human being to be acknowledged as something worthy. And his greatest success, one of his greatest successes, if he can convince you and me that in fact you're not worthy. Self-worth, valuing yourself, respecting yourself as a human being, is actually one of the great crises in the world today. Of people who don't see any worth in themselves. Oh, I used to have a job, but I'm retired now. Nobody cares about my opinion. I'm worthless. I just sit home all day. My son has a job. My daughters are gone away to college, and I'm just useless here. I'm just a burden on everyone. There's an old man sitting in his home thinking he's completely worthless. All I can do is just go to the masjid and come back, but I live with this worthlessness inside me. It's just better if I just die. These are the thoughts he has inside. He doesn't say it. Sometimes he even says it. A young man lives with worthlessness. He says, my brother graduated, my cousin got a job, everybody else is doing better, this one already got married, look at me, I've got nothing. I didn't accomplish any of those things. Oh, I wasted so many years. I should have done this, I should have done that. Everybody tells me I'm a loser, I must be a loser. What does Iblis want to do? He wants to get people to say things around you in your life. They'll say things to you that make you feel worthless. They don't even realize they're doing it. They don't even realize it. But they're having this effect on you when you start thinking, yeah, maybe I am worthless. Once you develop low self-esteem, you don't value yourself, then you're always thinking the only way I will be valued is if somebody else values me. If somebody else approves, then I have value. So I'm gonna take a picture of myself. I'm gonna make sure I change all the filters enough times, and then I'm gonna post it online, and I'm gonna wait for somebody to do this, or somebody to put one of these, or at least a mashallah or something. When you don't have enough value for yourself, you're always looking for value from where? Somewhere else. When you have low self-esteem, then you can't deal with any of your rights. Like, people can walk all over you, they can humiliate you, and in your head you're like, yeah, I deserve it, I'm scum anyway. So Iblis comes to those in your life sometimes and he says, hey, say this to him. And you hear that enough times, and what happens? You start internalizing it. Because human beings, even if you reject something at first, if you hear it enough times, you start getting influenced by that. You start seeing yourself that way. My presence is a burden. I have nothing to offer anyone. When you start developing this is a great victory of shaitan, because shaitan says, that's what I was saying, man. That's exactly what I was saying, just dirt. Look at him. What balance, what ruh. And what does Allah do? Before you and I even came on this earth, because of what our Father was given, which we have been given, the creation of our bodies, then on top of that the taswiyah, and on top of that the ruh. He gave us an honor above all of Allah's creation, and all of Allah's creation see us as a miracle of Allah, worthy of all the angels falling into sajda, in awe of what Allah has done, in amazement at what Allah has done. So now the angels in the heavens are impressed with you, and you're not impressed with yourself. You think you're worthless. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We honored the children of Adam. You know what this ayah teaches me? It teaches me I don't have to look for validation from anybody else. I can look for, did I do a good job or not? I should check. You shouldn't take this lesson and say, you know what? I don't need anybody else's opinion. Now, I'm going to go home and pour all the salt into the food and then cook it and say, how does it taste? Well, I don't care about your opinion because Allah has honored me. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. We do need to get correction from each other. And by the way, when you value yourself, then being criticized is not humiliation. If someone is criticizing me and saying, hey, you said this incorrectly, or you need to improve this, or this could be better, then they're doing me a favor to help me improve. I don't feel like I'm being insulted, because when you have really low self-worth, then criticism feels like you're being pushed even lower down. Once you recognize Allah has given me value, then you start seeing correction or criticism as an opportunity to grow. It's not humiliating anymore. But this is one side of the equation, that we value ourselves. But Iblis, he's got multiple tactics. And I talked about balance in the beginning. One of the things Allah gave us is balance. And one of the things that's happened in a lot of this social media environment is one subject that keeps coming up is self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, which is what I'm talking about too. But you can take that too far. you're amazing. You're the best. Believe in yourself. You. Nafsuk, nafsuk, nafsuk. And you're like, yes, nafsi, nafsi, nafsi. And you become like obsessed with, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. And then some parents do this to their kids. You're the best. You're the best ever. You're the princess. This little girl turns into a monster. She goes at school and she goes, the princess is here, kiss the ring. Like she develops this like inflated sense of self. Our worthiness before Allah is something that should make us humble. Allah gave me such a high position, I better put that to work. Am I thinking, yep, the boss is here. Watch out. That's my chair. Or are you thinking, I have been given such a high position, I better live up to this. I better up my game. I better learn more. So honor this role that I've been given so I can actually prove my worthiness. So the honor was given to you first, even before you got a chance to prove yourself. So on the one hand, we value ourselves, but what we actually are supposed to value is the potential that Allah gave us. We're supposed to value the ability to make the effort that Allah gave us. وَأَلَّيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. Human beings will have nothing of worth on Judgment Day except the efforts that they made. That's it. That's all that's going to matter. So what's this balance between confidence and humility that has to be struck? Because too much self-worth will turn into arrogance. And too much humility, then you start thinking, I'm nothing, I'm nobody. So there's this balance between confidence and humility that has to be struck. And that's what Allah Azza wa Jal defined as one of the most amazing qualities that human beings have.